This is the brand new Anti-Gravity A1 drone, the first consumer drone with a 360-degree camera. Right off the bat, I want to say that unlike a lot of A1 videos out there, this video is not sponsored by Anti-Gravity. I paid for this drone with my own money and it wasn't cheap. And today I'm going to get into what it's actually like to fly this thing, the good and the bad of the whole experience, the physical setup, the video quality, the editing experience, and eventually who I think this drone is for, who it's not for, and my overall take on Anti-Gravity's first drone. Let me first break down this whole setup and how this thing works. So you have the drone itself, which has a camera on the top, a camera on the bottom, exactly like an Insta360 camera, which for those of you who don't already know this, although this drone is branded as Anti-Gravity, it was made by Insta360. Anti-Gravity just sounds cooler for a drone, I guess. Because this drone has a camera on the bottom, it does have these little landing gear feet so the camera doesn't get scratched. I also, for the first time ever, purchased a landing pad for this drone for that reason, so that the camera doesn't get scratched. Usually I just catch drones when I land them, which I've done with this drone, but the other day when I was flying this thing, I tried to do that and I actually cut my finger decently on it. So I thought I might as well get a landing pad so that doesn't happen again. Anyway, along with the drone, you also have the motion controller, which is how you fly this thing, and I'll get into this a little bit later. Unlike DJI drones, there's no option to fly with a normal controller, so you have to fly with this motion controller and these goggles. To power the goggles, you have this lanyard which you wear around your neck and then you plug into the goggles and that powers the goggles. So this is what it looks like when you're wearing the goggles. I can't see anything right now, but you can double press the side button if I could find it here. And it has a pass-through mode so I can see with the camera on the front of the goggles, everything around me. It is in black and white, but you can still see your surroundings if you double press the side button. It's a little bit weird. It's not perfect, but it's good enough for, usually I end up using it because I don't really know the controller well enough to know where all the buttons are. And so that's what I end up using this for quite a bit. Now, depending on the kit that you buy, you get different accessories with the drone. I bought the Explorer version, which comes with 3 batteries, a charger for these 3 batteries, a carrying case, and extra props. This version of the kit, the batteries last about 24 minutes. You can get a different version of the kit, which comes with batteries that last longer, but that does put the drone over 250 grams. If you buy the Explorer kit like I did, then you don't need to worry about a license or anything when you're flying it because it's under 250 grams. Since I've bought this drone, the weather here where I live in Canada has been pretty cold, pretty wet, so I've had a difficult time actually getting it out to fly and get some footage. It's pretty cold right now, even indoors, hence the hoodie, which shout out to Into the AM for hooking up this hoodie. Super comfortable, fits well, and doesn't shrink like crazy in the wash like a lot of other hoodies do. That's literally my biggest pet peeve when it comes to buying hoodies, is I wear it once, it looks awesome, throw it in the wash, throw it in the dry, it comes out and it doesn't fit anymore. With this hoodie, I've washed it, I've dried it, and it still fits perfectly fine. Same goes with their plain t-shirts. I'm actually wearing it underneath this right now. Decent quality, fits well, and not super expensive. Check them out using the link in the description below and use my discount code for 10% off. Anyway, the point that I was trying to make with the weather is that it's been difficult to find a time and a spot to fly this thing, but I did manage to get it out a few times, and here's some of the footage from those flights. My first thoughts after flying this thing for the first time, wild. Unlike any flying or drone experience that I've ever had before. Really, really cool, super fun to fly, and surprisingly easy to learn how to use the motion controller, coming from someone who's never used a motion controller and doesn't really have any experience with virtual reality goggles or any type of goggles like this, like FPV. It's so much different than flying a normal drone like I'm used to, like a DJI Mini 4 Pro and a Mini 5 Pro. When I purchase a drone normally, the first thing that I'm usually interested in is how good is the video quality, how good is the photo quality. But with this drone, I wasn't really that interested in those things as I was how is the overall flying experience, if that makes sense. What drew me to this drone wasn't the video quality. I wasn't really expecting it to be a ton better than a Mini 5 and a Mini 4, and we'll get into that a bit later. But what drew me to the drone was the fact that it's shooting 360 degrees at all times, so you don't really need to worry about framing your shot. You can do that later. Like I said, I haven't really had much experience wearing any type of VR headset, so I did find that it hurt the bridge of my nose a little bit after the first time I flew it. But after the second and the third time, I don't know if I was just wearing it wrong the first time, but I got used to it and I haven't had that experience again. I also found that after the first time I flew, I got a little motion sick. I think it was partly because of the fact that the transmission between the drone and the goggles wasn't great. I was in an urban area. There was a lot of buildings, power lines, a bunch of stuff in the way that was blocking the signal, and I was actually getting an error on the goggles themselves. When I first flew it, I thought, uh-oh, is this an experience that everyone is having? Does it just have really poor transmission? And when I looked on Reddit, I got a little bit worried because there were other people that had the same issue. And so I thought, okay, let's go fly this thing in an open field and see if I get the same issue. So I did fly it in an open area and the issue seemed to go away, and I didn't really get motion sick either. I wouldn't say the transmission is like crystal clear between the goggles and the drone. Like, I don't fly FPV, but I can't imagine that you'd want to fly this thing at as fast of speeds as FPV drones do with the transmission of the goggles. I imagine you'd get better transmission out of the DJI goggles that you use for FPV, but I don't know. I can't comment. I don't fly FPV yet. Anyway, I think it's totally fine. I don't really have any issues flying it anymore. I haven't got motion sick. Transmission seems to be fine, although I don't think the range is very long out of this drone compared to DJI drones. With this drone, even when I was flying in that open area, I only got about 1.3 kilometers away before I started losing signal, and usually I can get way farther than that with a DJI drone like the Mini 5 Pro. Getting back into the flying experience, like I said, it's very different than flying a DJI drone where you're just looking at the controller and you're flying it that way. With the A1, you fly with this motion controller, and there's two ways to fly the drone. The first being free motion mode. Basically, wherever you point the motion controller, that's where the drone flies. Now, because the drone has a 360-degree camera, you can still turn your head wherever you want while you're flying it, and the drone will still be going in the direction that you're pointing the controller, but you can look around at whatever you want in the scene that you're flying. So you have this really interesting experience where you could be flying the drone in one direction and looking in the other direction. It's really cool. Now, to be honest, this free motion mode isn't my preferred way to fly the drone, mainly because you're moving around all over the place because you need to be pointing the controller where you want to fly. So if you want to fly in one direction and then you want to turn around and fly in the other direction, you need to turn your entire body around to turn the drone around. I think it's just a personal preference thing because I've seen other people make videos where they say they love this free motion mode, but personally, I like the FPV mode, which is the other way to fly this drone. When you're flying in the FPV mode, same thing goes. You can still turn your head around and it doesn't change the direction that the drone is flying. The difference is that in order to turn, you don't need to actually move your hand to point where you want to fly. You just tilt the controller. So if you want to turn left, you just tilt the controller left. If you want to turn right, you just tilt the controller right. And if you want to go up, you tilt it up. Tilt it down to go down. Personally, I like this a lot better because you can just stand in one spot and fly. In fact, I've flown it while sitting in my car. So it's just a much more compact, easy way to fly it. All right, now I'm gonna get into what it actually looks like to edit the footage of this drone and what you can do with it once you capture it. I think honestly, this is what separates this drone from some of the more conventional drones out there and what makes this drone so cool. To edit the footage captured by the A1, you have to use ANTIGRAVITY software called ANTIGRAVITY Studio. When you get into the studio, you can create a new project and set your frame rate and aspect ratio. There's a bunch of different options, obviously, but I'll go ahead and choose 16:9 for YouTube and 30 frames per second, as that is what the drone shoots at, 8K 30. Now, here's what's super cool about editing the footage from this drone. You can see if I just play the footage without doing anything, by default, the perspective is of where the camera was facing when I was flying it. But you can see now that I can choose a bunch of different perspectives instead. like overhead, left, right, rear view, wherever you want. And if you want to choose your own perspective, you can just click on the screen and orbit the camera perspective to wherever you want. If you want to animate or transition, let's say, from one perspective to another throughout the clip, you can add keyframes, which is as simple as right-clicking the screen where you want to add a keyframe. Let me show you an example. I'll start from this frame, and what I want to do is sort of fake a roll like what you would do with an FPV drone. So I'll start here and I'll add a keyframe, and now I'll move forward a little bit and I'll add another keyframe. But at this keyframe, I'll change the rotation to plus 360 degrees to do a full rotation. Now, when I play this back, you can see that from the first keyframe to the second keyframe, I get the roll motion going. If I want to make this roll way faster, I can just drag the second keyframe closer to the first keyframe to get more of an aggressive FPV style roll. This is just one example. You can get super creative between the transitions and what you want to do from one clip to another, or from one part of a clip to another. Because you have 360 degrees, you're really not limited to anything other than your imagination. With just one clip captured with this drone, I can get a front view, a side view, a back view, and a crazy animation without any reshooting. When you hear other creators and you've seen other videos for the A1 say fly now, frame later, this is what they mean. You don't need to be nearly as precise with your flying. Because you have the full 360 degrees, you kind of can't miss your shots. Of course, you still can. You need to be flying it in the direction that you want in order to get the camera motion that you want. But in terms of actually pointing the camera at your subject, you don't really have to worry about that with this drone. In the Anti-Gravity Studio, there's a bunch of other features that I haven't gotten into, like the ability to add motion blur to your footage. You can adjust the color, the clarity, all the usual adjustment type stuff that you'd expect. You can adjust the speed of a clip to slow down or speed up footage. You can do deep tracking and some other cool stuff. Overall, the experience within the editing software is really good, and if you're used to using any editor like Resolve or Premiere, then you'll feel right at home. All right, let's jump into video quality. I said before that I wasn't super interested in video quality when I bought this drone. I was more interested in the flying experience. And while this is true, the video obviously matters to some extent. If the video quality was complete trash, then obviously you wouldn't even consider picking this drone up. I've never used a 360 camera before, so I can't comment on how good the footage on this drone is compared to like an X5, but what I can do is compare it to some of the more conventional drones like the Mini 5 Pro and the Mini 4 Pro. I didn't do a direct side-by-side comparison of shots taken from this drone and shots taken from the Mini 5 Pro, which I may do a short video on at some point, but in looking at shots from this drone and shots from the Mini 5 Pro, it's pretty clear that the shots from the Mini 5 Pro are higher quality, which is kind of to be expected, to be honest. You have the 1-inch sensor on the Mini 5 Pro, and you also just have higher resolution. Well, you might be saying, what do you mean you have higher resolution? The Mini 5 Pro shoots in 4K and this drone shoots in 8K, but I mean, yes, but no. Because it's a 360-degree camera, you're not shooting in 8K in every direction. If you think about the footage that you're capturing, essentially you have the entire sphere, the 360 degrees that you're capturing in, and the 8K pixels is spread out throughout that entire sphere. So let's say the dimensions of an 8K frame are 7680 by 3640 or whatever 8K is. So if you imagine that that's your entire 360 degree sphere and you're now just going to roll it out onto like a poster, like in 2D. So that's your entire frame and all the pixels that you're capturing. So now for YouTube, you want a 16:9 shot and you want just the front view of the drone. Think of it essentially like you're cropping into that whole 360 degree sphere into just a portion of that, and that's why it's a lower resolution than 8K. It's actually probably more like 2K or 1080 depending on the lens that you use. The wider angle lens, the more pixels that you're capturing, so the higher the resolution. But if you shoot with like a linear lens, which is the tightest lens that you can get from the Anti-Gravity Studio, then you're probably in more like 1080. Don't get me wrong, the quality is still really good, but it's not as good as the Mini 5 Pro or some of the other DJI drones. You also don't have a flat profile or a log profile like you would with most DJI drones, which is kind of a hindrance for color grading, but it is what it is. The footage still looks pretty good, and hopefully in future iterations of this drone, they'll introduce something like that, or even up the quality to 16K so that when you do crop in and get that front view or the back view, then it's more like a 4K image. So to answer this question, who is this drone for? I think if you're looking for something to capture super high quality photos or video for things like real estate or editorial type stuff, you'd probably be better off getting a more conventional DJI drone like a Mavic or the Air series drones. I mean, even the Mini 5 Pro has really good quality. Similarly, if you're looking for something to do drone mapping, as far as I know at this point, you can't do that with this drone. So like I said, you'd be better off getting a more conventional drone like a Mini, an Air, or a Mavic. Now, for capturing travel footage, sports, landscape type stuff, personal stuff, this is where I think this drone really shines. For me, it's gonna make capturing water sports and all the cool stuff that we do on the water in the summer a lot easier because I don't need to worry about framing the subject. One other really cool feature that I didn't really think about until I got this drone and I started showing other people this drone is how cool it is to actually take the footage that you've captured, put the goggles on someone else, and now they basically get to relive the entire flight as if they were flying the drone. When you hand the goggles to someone and you press play on the footage that you've captured with the drone, it's essentially like they're flying the drone. They can look in 360 degrees and you can basically show them wherever you flew the drone. So over the holidays, we were staying with some family who had never seen the area that we live in. I was able to put the goggles on them, fly them through the neighborhood, and show them some of the places that we go to on a regular basis, and it was really cool. Everyone that I've done this for and I've put the goggles on, I've shown them, they're all super impressed, and rightly so. They think it's super cool. The drone's also just super fun to fly, so there's that. It's just a nice little toy to have. Unfortunately, it is a little expensive. I think it would be an easier sell if it was more in line with some of the other drones like the Mini 4 Pro or the Mini 5 Pro, but in some ways, I get it. You have a 360-degree camera, you have the goggles, you know, the motion controller. There's other things that come with it that a regular drone doesn't. With a regular drone, you just have a drone and a controller. So it makes sense that when you add in the goggles, it's a little more expensive, but still, that's probably a deterrent for some people from buying the drone. But I mean, if you can afford it, it's definitely worth it, in my opinion. It's a cool toy, and I think it's only going to get better with iterations. I'm excited to test this thing out more this year and when the weather gets better. And if there's anything else that you guys want to know about this drone or you want to see in an upcoming video, let me know in the comments. All right, that's it for this video. Happy New Year and all that. It's probably too late to say that. We're like middle of January, but it's my first video back in 2026, so I'm gonna say it. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one.